This is the News 4 Rundown.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the News 4 Rundown. I'm Un Yang. It's Monday, April 20th. Here's a look at some of the big stories we're following for you tonight. Coming up, if you paid for concert tickets in the DMV, you know how expensive it can be. But now, after a lawsuit from the district, some of that money could be coming back into your pockets. We'll tell you how soon that could be and what you'll have to do to get your refund. Plus, we're fact-checking social media accounts that you're posting AI-generated content, the motive behind these kinds of fake posts, and how to identify them. Then we are less than 3 weeks away from the start of the WNBA season, and the Mystics have a lot of new young talent to help them become serious contenders. We'll hear from the rookies ahead of their first year as pros. But we begin tonight with a troubling trend impacting families, children, and especially Black women, as research shows they are disproportionately impacted by intimate partner violence. Over the weekend in Shreveport, Louisiana, 8 young children murdered. The man accused of killing them is the father of 7 of the children, all of them between the ages of 3 and 11 years old. The kids being described as happy children with a great home life. The man also shot his wife and another woman whom police believe was his girlfriend. Earlier this month, a Florida vice mayor was found shot to death in her home. Nancy Mateo Bowen was a rising star in Florida Democratic politics. Her husband of 3 years has been charged with first-degree murder in that case. And closer to home, our region was rocked last week with the news of Dr. Cerina Fairfax being murdered by her husband, former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Cerina was a respected dentist in our area. After her killing, Justin then turned the gun on himself and took his own life. Their 2 teenage children were in the home at the time of the murder. Today, investigative reporter Tracy Wilkins spoke with Karma Kotman of Ujima, the National Center on Violence Against Women in the Black community, about the threat and what needs to happen now.
Karma, I want to start with just some of the statistics. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, more than 40% of Black women have experienced some kind of intimate partner violence, be it physical, sexual, or stalking. What are these stats telling us?
We know that Black women experience domestic violence at higher rates, particularly those young women between the ages of 18 and 34. We know that Black women have a higher rate of not only violence, but are also killed and murdered at higher rates, particularly when there is a firearm at play. And so the rates of domestic violence, particularly for Black women, are saying that this is not just a family matter, not just something that people should keep behind closed doors, but these are critical issues that are life-threatening for Black women.
Why is there such a disproportionate number of Black women who are being impacted by this domestic violence?
What we see for Black women we are less likely to report domestic violence when it happens for a myriad of reasons. Black women don't trust systems, right? Because historically systems have been dangerous. Because Black women are afraid that when they call, they won't be seen as a victim. And we know those things to be true. So what happens for Black women is that we almost wait until the violence is at a fever pitch, at a point where it is lethal, when we're calling for help and when we're calling for assistance. But I'm very clear, that does not mean that Black communities are more violent. What it means is that we don't have as much access to resources when we experience violence.
I want to talk about Black women who feel like the first thing they need to do is look after the man and want to protect them from things like incarceration and protect them from systems that can be harmful to them. Can you talk about that phenomenon, all of this?
Absolutely. We know that racism and oppression have impacted our community. And so Black women end up protecting, right? And we make choices around not only protecting ourselves, more than likely we are going to protect the community because we are overrepresented in the penal system, because we're overrepresented in the child welfare system. So for Black women, oftentimes we go to protecting the man or protecting our children rather than putting our own safety first.
Dr. Cerina Fairfax, Nancy Mateo Bowen, with these headlines, with us hearing about these Black women who have died at the hands of their domestic partners. What does this do to the mental health of other Black women?
Right now at Ujima, we're hearing from a number of people who are being triggered. They themselves are survivors. And so this is recalling for them the incidents that they've experienced in their own lives. And what we're seeing, especially in the Fairfax case, is that she's not the typical victim. So people didn't even believe that domestic violence could be present. I don't know how many times I've heard in the chat, oh no, I didn't even think that this was a domestic violence incident when I first heard the story. Domestic violence doesn't have a face. There is no typical victim. Anyone could be experiencing it at any point.
Karma Kottman with Ujima, National Center on Violence Against Women in the Black Community. Thank you so much for having this important conversation with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you or someone you love needs help, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is on your screen right now, 1-800-799-SAFE. Now we want to get to some of our other top stories today. Tomorrow will be a pivotal day for the future of youth curfew zones in the district. The D.C. Council will vote on whether to allow the city to retain authority to enforce the zones. The current emergency authority expires May 1st. Tomorrow, Virginia voters will decide whether the Commonwealth will join other states in redrawing their congressional maps. In Virginia, Democrats currently have a 6-5 advantage in the House of Representatives. But if the new map is approved, they would have 10 Democrat-leaning districts in November. Democrats are urging voters to say yes on the constitutional amendment. Republicans are pushing for a no vote. Virginia's governor and Democratic lawmakers are at odds after Abigail Spanberger made some major changes to the legislation that would create a retail cannabis market. Among the governor's amendments, a delay in the start of the retail market from January of next year to July of next year. The initial number of licenses were reduced from the 350 in the legislation to 200. The General Assembly reconvenes Wednesday to consider the governor's amendments. Capital One Arena is officially closed for renovations for the summer. This is part of an $800 million upgrade, partially funded by taxpayer dollars as part of the deal to keep the Caps and Wizards in D.C. They're going to be doubling the amount of escalators and elevators, adding more concession stands and bathrooms, and expanding the walkways. Capital One Arena says they plan to offer more concerts this fall and winter to make up for the lack of concerts in the summer during renovations. District residents who bought event tickets through Live Nation or Ticketmaster over the past decade could soon be eligible for refunds. D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab says the companies have agreed to a $9.9 million settlement over allegations they misled customers about ticket prices and used deceptive fees and pressure tactics.
Consumers would be going through screens to purchase tickets. It was only at the final screen on the checkout page where fees would suddenly pop up. And those fees might increase the ticket price by 20, 30, even 40%. They were only being disclosed there. So that was our first issue.
D.C. will refund most of that money to customers with a claims process expected in the coming months.
If you purchased a ticket through Ticketmaster, our investigation does go back to 2015, but we're still trying to determine what time period. Our goal is to get as much of the $8.9 million out the door to consumers in their pockets. We have email addresses for some consumers that we'll be able to use to send out emails, but once our claims process is ready, we will announce it on our website. We'll put it out on social media. So please stay tuned, and that will tell consumers what you have to do to submit a claim, what the time period is, how much you might expect to get back. What I can tell you is this will be a settlement that will pay out to district residents who purchased tickets and paid those hidden fees.
Live Nation and Ticketmaster deny any wrongdoing. They said the agreement is meant to fully resolve the allegations. News 4's Joseph Olmo will have more on this story coming up on News 4 at 11. And much more ahead on the News 4 Rundown tonight, including our break from the warm weather. Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Doug Kammerer is tracking when the heat will return.
Yeah, we're talking a cold night tonight and a freeze warning in effect for just about the entire region. We're going to wake up to a very cold Tuesday. I'll show you when temperatures go back up towards the end of the week. See you back here in a few.
I'm Amy Cho taking you inside Capital One Arena, where the whole thing is getting a massive makeover. Ahead on News 4, what this will mean for your game day experience.
Back now with our series Vetting AI. We are deciphering what some of you may have been seeing circulating on social media. The latest clips gaining attention, fake videos of U.S. soldiers either crying or pleading for help. Joining us tonight to discuss these videos is PolitiFact artificial intelligence reporter Laura Ben-Tucaro. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. These are some troubling videos, and they come at a time when the United States is at war with Iran and could even paint an inaccurate view of what is going on overseas. What have you found in your reporting, Laura Ben?
She misses home and her family, but she's staying to serve the country. And this turned out to be an AI-generated video. So I was looking for more instances of this video being posted on social media. And what I found was multiple accounts across TikTok, Facebook, YouTube were dedicated to posting such fake videos of US soldiers in distress. And these videos gained almost 30 million views collectively. And we shared our findings with the social media platforms, and they took these accounts and the videos down for violating their policies on spam and misleading AI-generated content.
And Laura, we've even seen AI-generated images showing a female service member with the president. What's the motivation behind posting images like this one, and what are the consequences?
Right. So in a lot of these accounts, they do stick to one type of character. In some accounts, they post primarily female soldiers in locations such as deserts or snowy areas, and they're crying and they're saying they want to serve their country, and they ask for support in the form of likes or follows from viewers. It's hard to tell who is behind these accounts. Often there are no other information in the accounts apart from the videos that they're posting, but we know from other such trends and fake videos and networks that there's some financial motive as to why they post such videos. In social media platforms, they have monetization programs that incentivize creators for producing viral videos. And another way that these creators and account owners can make money is by directing viewers to external websites that prompt them to make a purchase or contribute monetarily in other ways. So they can prompt them to make a donation. Other external websites can also be a phishing scam, so they can steal people's personal information or even subject them to cyber attacks.
So we really have to be careful about clicking on any of these images or following the rabbit hole through some of them. The president, Laura Ben himself, we've seen also known for reposting AI-generated videos and images. Can you help our viewers identify how they see whether a video is fake or real? Because sometimes these AI images are really good.
Yeah, so you don't have to be an expert in digital forensics or AI to kind of identify fake videos like these. The first thing you need to do is to take stock of how this video makes you feel. If it makes you feel sad and angry and compelled to take action, maybe it's a good time to step back and see what else this account is about or what else it's posting, and if it's a reliable source or something that you can send your money to. So a lot of these accounts were created right after the Iran war started. So that's an indicator that they're capitalizing on the news cycle or politics to manipulate people's emotions and try to get them to take action on something. So these accounts post a lot of content and try to gain a lot of views that way. They will feature young, attractive people. One expert told us that even when the women in these videos had mud or scratches on their face, they were often still made out to be attractive. And sometimes it's as easy as watermarks on the video. Those accounts sometimes still left them out. And another thing is the text on the uniforms might be wrong or in gibberish or might have errors. So those are some indicators that they might be AI.
All right, all important information. PolitiFact AI intelligence or artificial intelligence reporter Laura Ben-Tucaro, thanks so much for joining us with that insight tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely colder today than what we experienced last week. But you know what? It wasn't all bad with the sunshine, Doug.
Yeah, and I have to say, you have not given me anything negative coming this way. So all positive energy out of you today.
You earned it after last week.
Okay, good.
And the weekend was nice, too.
Gave you some 80s and 90s,
Yes.
so I got some points there. But On says, get this out of here. And it will get out of here, and that's the good news. We are going to see a very cold night tonight. These were the highs today. I mean, remember, 80s and 90s the last few days, and here we are today with high temperatures only in the 50s, 54 in Leesburg, 58 in Warrenton, 57 towards Clinton, Maryland. Now, currently, look at this, sun going down. It is a gorgeous evening, but it is chilly, and look at the flag here. A little breezy, too. Look at the wind. Still gusting over 20 miles an hour. Temperature around 52. Winds out of the north-northwest at 17. So there's a little chill in the air that you're going to have to get through, and you want to make sure you have that jacket tonight. We're already in the 40s in many areas back to the west. 49 in Martinsburg, 47 in Hagerstown, 49 in Gaithersburg, and right now 52 over towards Annapolis. So a cold Monday night, and it's going to continue to get colder. We don't have any rain now. We did have some showers earlier. Even saw some thunderstorms working their way through a water spout over towards Ocean City. We had hail today. We had grapple, which is also known as soft hail, something that's kind of cool, falling out of the sky. You might have seen that in your area. And then there's snow up toward the north. This is very cold air working its way out of Canada. And for us tonight, watch where we go by early tomorrow morning. We're going to be in the upper 20s to low 30s in most areas, and this could be close to record-setting territory as far as low temperatures go. We hit record highs the other day. We could hit record lows now. So that's a roller coaster over the last few days, from big highs to some really cold lows. Now, tomorrow afternoon, not nearly as cold as it was today. I think most of us get back into the upper 50s to low 60s. And with sunshine, your Tuesday is actually looking pretty nice. So I think you'll enjoy it after that cold start. But that cold start is here because of that freeze warning. That freeze warning in effect right on through early tomorrow morning. So bring in any sensitive plants or cover them if you can. Temperature-wise, though, working our way back into the positive direction. 71 on Wednesday, 79 Thursday and Friday. Chance of showers, good chance on Wednesday, but not a washout. Few showers on Friday, not a lot there. Most of us stay on the dry side. The best chance for rain is actually on Saturday, which makes for not the best weekend. Temperatures, though, right around average as we end the month of April next week.
So there's a trend called digital raw dogging. It's been all over TikTok, and it's evolved from a quirky flight challenge into a full-blown Gen Z wellness movement. The idea is pretty simple. Put your phone down, turn off the noise, and just sit with your own thoughts. No scrolling, no music, no entertainment. As people's attention spans shrink and screen time climbs, young people are pushing back in a surprisingly low-tech way. Psychiatrist Dr. Joshua Weiner joins us to weigh in on whether there's real science behind the silence. This is such a fun topic. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with what exactly is digital raw dogging, and why do you think it's resonating so much now with the younger generation?
I think you described it perfectly. So you're just putting that phone down and you're allowing yourself to just sit and think. No distractions. And that is a rare thing nowadays. It's interesting, right? You probably see this with your teenage kids. Mine, they're watching a movie. They're on their phone while they watch a movie. It's like, come on, just focus on the movie, right? And so you've got to recognize these Gen Zers, these are now kids between the ages of roughly 15 and 30. This is the first generation that grew up entirely in the digital age. And you talk to these kids and they realize they are so engaged in this digital world and they know it's not good for them. They know they're losing some ability to focus on things and they're constantly looking for that dopamine hit. But you know, it's very tempting. So they are now trying to push back against this. This is this new fad where you're going to put down that phone and just allow yourself maybe to be bored and let your mind wander a little bit. I think it's good.
Right. If you could actually get the buy-in from a teenager, right? So is there actually something to be gained from unplugging completely, or is this just an internet fad right now with a funny name?
Well, I think it's actually both. I think it is an internet fad with a funny name. And, it's interesting, right? Gets us talking about this. But I do think there's science behind this. When you are just calm and relaxed and allowing your brain to just wander, you're activating something called your default mode network. And this is just these areas of the brain that are connected that allow you to have more creativity and think about things from a different perspective. So if you're not engaged in actively trying to do something like scrolling, you are opening up other areas of your brain. And there's a lot of good that comes from just allowing yourself to feel and think. We need to be thinking about things like, am I happy with my life? Do I like my job? What can I be working on? How can I better myself? How can I think about this problem in a more creative way?
What about the comparison to more structured mindfulness practices, the ones that we know, such as meditation? Are they achieving the same thing?
They're kind of similar, but not the same, right? So I think of them both as being forms of exercise, right? So meditation is more formal. That's a more formal workout program. Digital raw dogging is more like, I'm just going to go for a walk and see what happens. So when you're meditating, what you're trying to do is you're trying to focus on one thing and block out all thoughts. You're just focusing primarily on breathing. And that's a way to train your brain to have a little bit more control of the way it works. Digital raw dogging is more, I'm just going to sit and think. So it's much less structured, a little easier. Both serve their purposes, but both are good for you.
Interesting to see what they'll be thinking about once they have that time. So there are people who find silence uncomfortable or anxiety inducing. What would you suggest for them?
It might sound harsh. I say, suck it up. Right? So anything that you're not used to doing is going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be weird. If you're constantly used to being engaged and on your phone and having something going on, it's going to be uncomfortable. Sit with it. Allow yourself to think and feel. And it's going to get easier. And I think that a lot of people need to recognize that just because you're having some sort of negative emotion, it's not a bad thing all the time, right? Allowing yourself to think and feel these things is somewhat your body and your brain's way of telling you, hey, there may be these unresolved issues that you need to be paying some more attention to. If you're constantly trying to distract yourself, you're not allowing yourself that opportunity to potentially to come to some solutions that may actually end up working and helping your life in the long run. So, I think that people just need to deal with it and recognize I'm going to get used to it. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it'll be fine.
Right. Unplugging for even a short period of time has to be good for your mental health, for sure.
Yeah, you don't need to be a psychiatrist to know that.
Dr. Joshua Weiner, thank you so much, though. We do appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
The Mystics just made their mark with 3 first-round selections, including UCLA superstar Lauren Betts. JP Finlay caught up with the rookies at Media Day.
The Mystics' first-round picks were having a blast at today's Media Day. That's right, Lauren Betts, the 4th overall pick, is the center of attention.
On the court, I'm the competitor, I'm fiery, I love to play basketball, so I just love to have fun when I'm playing, and big interior presence, so really excited about that. And then off the court, I'm fun, I like to have fun, I like to, go shopping, I like to drive my car everywhere, so you'll probably see I'm not gonna tell you what car I have, because, there's weird people out there. Don't be weird, but just say, hello. And
Betts is coming off a national championship with the UCLA Bruins, and you better believe players and women like Betts are important to the next generation. Check out this young fan, moved to tears meeting the rookie sensation. Then there was 6-year-old Lily sharing her personally made picture for the Mystics' second-year star, Sonia Citron.
The picture I made for Sonia is it has basketballs on it because I love her.
People watch us, people look up to us, and just to see little girls, maybe believe that they could be here one day, and hopefully we inspire them. It's just much bigger than just basketball.
The Mystics will open the season on May 8th in Toronto. The home opener, May 10th against the New York Liberty.
How awesome is that little girl? So adorable, and great Media Day all around. That's going to do it for the News4 Rundown for this Monday night. The first round of the NBA playoffs is up next. The New York Knicks look to take a Game 2 lead over the Atlanta Hawks. Be sure to do 2-game lead. Be sure to join us tonight for News 4 at 11. For now, I'm Eun Yang. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.